You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Serious about business.
Business Access TV welcomes you to the launch of Weddings JA. I'm your host, Amita Prasadweb, and today we're here in the gardens of the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel. Please stay tuned for highlights.
So Shangri-La Flowers and Gifts is a wedding company and an all-rounded wedding company. We're located in Montego Bay and Ocho. So what we do is wedding decor, wedding florals, wedding rental, and also wedding planning. So really a one-stop shop for your wedding as well. So you guys, this event we thought would be a perfect way to come into the Kingston market since we don't yet have a store in Kingston.
It's the launch of Weddings JA. What are your thoughts thus far, turnout and the other booths?
Well, actually, it looks really well. I'm glad that the turnout, despite, weather had set to be rainy. So I'm glad with the turnout as well. And the booths are actually looking really well. So we're happy that we had sponsored this amazing event.
So talk to us about Tent City. What is it that you guys do?
We're a tent company, and what we do is rent different tents for different occasions, weddings, party, graduations, you name it.
Talk to us about the relationship between Tent City and Weddings JA.
Well, we're one of the sponsors, and they call us and we partnered with them, and that's why we're here today.
What's next for Tent City?
Well, what's next for Tent City is that we have new and upcoming tents, and for the December period, as we're here now, this is one of our new tents. It's a skylight. We have it here just to show the customers to see if they'll take it, because it's kind of different, you understand? And just to showcase our new tent.
I think when people think of tents, they think of one type of tent. Can you give us some examples of the different types of tents that Tent City offers?
Well, our tents are white, really, and mostly high peak, and we have different sizes. The sizes vary from 10 by 10, and we can go as far as 40 by 100.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome fashion from Lust Yosh Design DJ. Let's go. Make some noise for Lust Yosh Fashion. So where can we find you? Take it down.
All right, so you can check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Lust Yosh Designs, or you can email us at lustyoshdesigns@gmail.com. Number 873-7319. Thank you.
Talk to us about Sparkles Productions.
Well, we're a production company, but we do other stuff as well. We do weddings. So not only do we do the sound and the flooring and the lighting and the trussing, We do decor, we do flowers, we do invitations, we do photography. So we are a one-stop. So I know a lot of people think Sparkles Productions, they think of big stage shows, they think of music, they think of sound. But we do have a department for weddings. And because we come with everything, we are able to give better costings.
You're here today as a sponsor at Weddings JA. Talk to us about that relationship.
Sure. Well, Renisha called me and said, check out our new site, and I did, and I liked it. I like the idea of everybody in the wedding industry coming together. And so when she called me and said she's doing a launch, I said, yes, count me in. I'll be there. I like it. I like the networking, and I like to see what everybody else is doing.
All right, so talk to us about your business, 81 Sound Entertainment.
All right, my business. Originally, I'm an event promoter. I've been so for probably like the better part of 20 years. Made the decision about 3 years ago to branch out into service provision. Here am I, 81 Sound Entertainment. So I've used all the experience that I've garnered in my almost 2 decades and turned it into service provision and to provide quality service. So that's basically it.
Talk to us about the relationship between Weddings JA and 81 Sound.
All right, Weddings JA now. When they originally started their promotion, I liked the idea of having a wedding directory, and I like the concept of launching that directory and their service in the form of a wedding show. And I approached them and said, hey, I'm willing to work with you guys, and they accepted, and I'm gracious for their acceptance and for the opportunity, and we worked together, and we created an experience. As you can see by the turnout, they did a wonderful job where marketing is concerned and the layout and so forth, and I'm just grateful for the opportunity to work with them.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
Every day you wake up, you have another opportunity to make this little island better, safer, a place where we all can be proud to call home. It's time we all recognize that every little thing we do has an impact on the Jamaica we live in now and the country we're leaving for our children. So promise me this, promise yourself this: no more will we tolerate criminals, even if it's our relatives. Tell them they're doing something wrong. Tell them to stop. Tell them no more robbing our children of the Jamaica they deserve. Tell them no more crime.
Now, the aim of this competition is called Professing Your Love. It's called what? Professing Your Love. What is it called? Professing Your Love. It's pretty simple. The couple that professes their love the best through kiss wins. All right, so you're gonna all start after 3. So face your partner. All right. Take on a hand out on a pocket. Remember, you know, and this is gonna last for 15 seconds. Good afternoon, ma'am. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm trying to be as well as you. Your dresses look stunning. Don't they look stunning, ladies? Come on, make some noise, ladies. All right, so tell us more about your company and where we can find you and all your contact information.
All right, so it's Bliss Bridal Boutique. We are located at 7 to 9 Arden Road in our new big, nice, fabulous location. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook at Bliss Bridal JA. Our telephone number is 876-622-2547, or for ease, it's actually 876-62-BLISS.
All right, talk to us about Victoria House Events Limited.
All right, Victoria House Events Limited is located at 11 Lindsay Crescent. What we do all year functions, but we mainly do weddings. We do from a pin to an anchor. The only thing we don't do is find the gentleman, but we find everything else: the dresses, the cake, the food, the pastor, the location, just about everything.
Today you're here at Weddings JA launch. Talk to us about your experience here today.
It has been an awesome day. Beyond my wildest dream. We had so many persons coming in. It was just busy, busy, busy all day, all morning. People just keep coming. But it was good. It's a good experience. And for sure, we'll be in this next year.
WeddingsJA.com is Jamaica's premier online wedding directory, offering an impressive list of over 1,000 Jamaica-based wedding vendors. She has a bachelor's in entertainment management and a master's in marketing. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the founder, the CEO, the woman herself, Renisha James. Make some noise. She's the reason why we're here today. And to have the symbolic launching of the website, we're going to be having the cutting of the ribbon. Are you ready? So we're going to count down from 5. And you're going to count with me. Ready? 5. Shout it. 5. Round of applause, round of applause. All right, Renisha, tell us more about the vision behind WeddingsJA.com.
Well, you know, people are always getting married, and any bride-to-be will tell you that planning a wedding is no easy feat. So, this website was created to make it absolutely easy for the bride to find everything that she could ever need. I mean, we have honeymoon, makeup artists, venues, photographers, decorators, rings, dresses, DJs, MCs, you name it, everything is on WeddingsJA.com. So ladies and grooms to be, you can, in the comfort of your bedroom or your living room, just go online and find everything that you're looking for with one click. Isn't that amazing?
It's the launch of WeddingsJA.com. Congrats. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling so good.
How did the idea come about?
Well, I saw that there was a need for brides-to-be to find everything that they really needed to plan their wedding successfully with ease. And so I thought that this would be a really, really good thing to introduce to the market to fill that gap.
The day is almost over. What's the feedback been like so far?
It's been amazing. People are like, is this going to be an annual event? This is so awesome. I really had fun. Like, it's been so much positive feedback, so I'm really happy.
Now that your website has launched, what's the next step?
The next step is for wedding businesses all across Jamaica to get listed so that the brides-to-be and the grooms-to-be can find them easily, because that's what Weddings JA is all about. In addition to brides signing up on the website, we have discounts from our vendors that brides can also get when they sign up. And it's really just to let everyone know that we are open for business. Log on to the website, brides, find everything that you need, vendors, get listed.
And there you have it, the launch of Weddings JA. I've been your host, Amita Prasad Web, and thank you for tuning in to Business Access TV, serious about business. Our women are the backbone of our society. They deserve to be protected and respected. Domestic violence is not okay. Speak up and speak out. No more violence against women.
Evelyn Harris is a maroon healer in Jamaica. She has spent decades making a living from her knowledge of Jamaican plants and their healing properties. The products she makes from these plants are in constant demand, and she's happy to be able to help others. She is symbolic of many persons in the Caribbean whose traditional knowledge is a rich and often unacknowledged resource.
You have to be curious to learn about herbs. This is dog's blood, and this one is good for infection or black tube. And this one is piaba, and the piaba is what good for women who's going through menopause.
She, like many others in the region, can share stories of how her knowledge has contributed to research without being properly credited or compensated. But all that will change as more Caribbean countries are getting on board with a Nagoya Protocol that will protect knowledge held by persons like Evelyn and will serve to preserve the natural resources she depends on. The Nagoya Protocol is an international agreement that focuses on the fair and equitable sharing of the benefits from the sustainable use of genetic resources. It is an agreement that researchers and prospective business developers that use the Caribbean's natural resources need to be aware of.
The Caribbean region has an abundant variety of marine and terrestrial biodiversity, including a high number of endemic species of flora and fauna. This richness is combined with a mix of cultures and traditional knowledge. Also, it is clear that Caribbean countries recognize the importance of their unique genetic resources and associated traditional knowledge, and at the same time know that sharing the benefits of the utilization of these resources can be a way to protect the rich natural resources and bring prosperity to Caribbean people.
The International Union for the Conservation of Nature, IUCN, in partnership with the United Nations Environmental Program, UNEP, and the Global Environment Facility, GEF, is working with regional governments, research institutions, and other partners in the Caribbean to support countries to promote the sustainable use of the region's resources.
The needs are envisioned at 3 levels. One is at local levels, working with local communities and indigenous groups. The second level is the national level, working mainly with government and key line agencies that are going to be somehow responsible to implement the protocol, that have competencies according to the national law and the international legislation. And the third level is the regional level, working with CARICOM, for example, with OECS, other regional bodies like tourism organizations or other pertinent bodies that has responsibilities as well in the provision of the Nagoya Protocol.
Regulations will also be established for prior informed consent to access resources and the negotiation of mutually agreed terms to maximize the benefits of the protocol.
The Nagoya Protocol specifically deals with the issue of access to genetic resources and the sharing of the benefits that are gained from those resources. Now, if you think about the issue of sustainable development, if you think about the issue of natural resource management, it is necessary for these countries, who in most cases are small island developing states or developing countries, they need resources to be able to protect these natural resources that we have, these genetic resources. And so any avenue that is going to assist with making sure that some of these benefits come back in order to sustainably use these resources is something that the IUCN is always interested in providing.
The Bahamas, for example, is a hotspot for access to genetic resources for research and development. But only in one case of successful commercialization has benefit sharing with a country on the basis of an ABS contract took place.
There is a soft coral, which is a wavy coral. It's harvested annually in the Bahamas. And an extract from that was the first source of chemicals which are used today in skin revitalizing anti-aging creams. One of the researchers from the University of California came to the Bahamas and discovered a class of compounds which have anti-inflammatory properties. Later on, over 100 products in the world have been developed from the extracts from this coral.
For practitioners such as Dr. Sylvia Mitchell, the protocol will change the way how local communities and indigenous people like the Amerindians, Maroons, and Rastafarians operate.
The indigenous and local communities have to be part of the process. A very important part that the Nagoya Protocol recognizes in this whole value chain is that there are local indigenous communities all over the biodiversity-rich areas that have, over many, many generations, developed recipes. And when you develop products in the end, many, many years later, creams, anti-cancer, whatever, many times that traditional knowledge has been taken into account, but it doesn't filter back to those local communities.
Several Caribbean countries have already started putting in the framework to benefit from the implementation of the Nagoya Protocol. In Guyana, certain key steps have been taken.
Guyana already had a system in place with regards to granting access to its genetic resources. And that system is basically done through the Environmental Protection Agency. We're the agency responsible for granting all access to persons coming into the country to do research. If persons want to enter a specific community to access a specific resource, they have to get the consent of that community. When that consent is received, what they do is they have to submit that to, we have Ministry of Indigenous Peoples Affairs. And they would usually issue official permission saying the community has no objection with this person coming in to do such and such. When we have that, then we would issue our permit.
For Antigua and Barbuda, much has already been done, as these islands are in the process of depositing their ratification instrument.
This project will allow us to develop our regulations, to develop our policy, to set up our institutional infrastructure to now manage the issues. We don't know when any genetic materials and the associated traditional knowledge are being taken out of the country. We're not aware. It's only those people who will inform certain agencies or certain government agencies that they're taking them out. That only happens occasionally. But in instituting this Nagoya Protocol, in instituting our ABS regulations and policy, we'll be able to finally have a system to regulate this process.
The Nagoya Protocol is helping to preserve traditional knowledge that could be lost as elders die.
Over a period of time, people will come there, people have their complaints, people want to be treated for some ailments or whatever, and people just come to folks who do what they have to do for them, but not necessarily telling them, you know, what is it I have done for you. Okay, if you come, you have a problem with your belly or your back or your shoulder or whatever, you will get the treatment for it. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna know all the ingredients and stuff that goes into it. And even sometimes if people would probably show to you, you might see an ingredient or two that they use, but it would be probably the least importance of the ingredient that you would have seen.
As the Caribbean embraces new opportunities to benefit from our biological resources, we look to the future.
I represent 11 parishes across the island which have a membership about 5,000. These are traditional farmers who have been growing marijuana illegally for years. Now that we are on the way to have a formal industry, we are working hard to allow standards to fit their needs as grassroots people while working with governments and agencies across the world.
The Nagoya Protocol is opening doors for Caribbean people.
It's a festive time in a fairy little island as we gear up to celebrate the 57th anniversary of Jamaica's independence. Jamaica gained independence from the British on August 6, 1962, which meant the British no longer had control over the affairs of the country. Today we stand tall as a country with the black, green and gold colors of our flag flying high. We are indeed proud Jamaicans. Welcome to another edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm Adrian Atkinson. We have an interesting show lined up just for you, so stay tuned. Jamaicans love to shop, especially during the holiday seasons or even back to school. Before, it was usually in-store shopping only, but with advancements in technology, online shopping is now a big deal. This week on Get the Facts, we have all the details from the Consumer Affairs Commission on how you can stay safe in the retail space.
Welcome to Get the Facts, the program that provides you with information on government's policies and initiatives. I'm your host, Enthros Campbell. Making a purchase can be a wonderful experience, but if you're not careful, it can also be very disappointing. To help caution our activities is the Consumer Affairs Commission, and the agency's communication specialist, Dorothy Campbell, will take us through that process. Ms. Campbell, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
So good to have you.
Happy to be here.
Let's start by you telling us about your function, your role and function of the Consumer Affairs Commission.
Well, the Consumer Affairs Commission is the agency under the Ministry of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries that is mandated to protect the consumers. And how we do that is through education, through market surveillance, and through redress of consumer complaints. These are the three main platforms under which we function.
Right. How do you go about educating the public?
Well, first off, we try to use our legislation, the Consumer Protection Act, to educate consumers about their rights and responsibilities as provided in the Act. This is one of the avenues we use as a media, such as programs such as these. We also do outreach in tertiary and high schools as well as primary schools. We go to social clubs when we're invited, and we also invite ourselves to organization meetings and so on in order to sensitize persons about their rights and responsibilities.
Right. So the visits to schools and colleges, I'm thinking, that is really active?
It's very active. The outreach, the Director of Research, as the Director of Field Operations, is responsible for outreach activities. And while we're constrained by finances as well as the kind of human resources, we do a fairly good job of going out to high schools, even technical training schools such as HART, we're ever present. And we do go to devotions, training institutions and so on to ensure that it's a generational kind of education. So younger consumers are aware of their rights and responsibilities.
Right. And you also conduct market researches, right?
That's the core of who we are, is the market research, because our market surveillance ensures that there's a stabilization within the marketplace. And how we do that is that we ensure that the information that we collect on the market is distributed widely among the consumers. For instance, our petrol survey, we go across the entire island to monitor prices at the petrol at the pump. We do that for groceries as well, for some critical items selected by...
How often?
We do that once per month. We try to publish at least the majority or some parts of the information. We no longer publish all. It's very expensive, but we have found other platforms to share the information. So while we may publish in print some of that information, we use social media, our website, the digital media, and we're currently working on an app to help consumers to access the information.
So the information you published in print,
Mhm.
that is every month.
That's monthly.
And all the newspapers?
Both newspapers.
Both newspapers,
Right.
yes.
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 Dailies, both the dailies.
And that's at the end of the
And-
month, what part of the month?
Well, that schedule sometimes varies because of not only the availability of the data, but sometimes the verification of the data takes a little while. We do this digitally, so it's uploaded immediately to our database when the survey officers go out. However, we do not publish until every single piece of that data is verified. So sometimes there's a glitch, and sometimes the verification process takes longer. So our schedule may be off a week or two, but we try our best to ensure that following the data collection, verification, we publish at least a couple weeks after
So
that.
what can we find in that publication? What is in it? How much bread is selling for here? How much is selling? What do you put it? How can we benefit as consumers?
Well, my CEO, Mrs. Dulcie Allen, would get me if I didn't give credit where credit is due. The Honorable Carl Samuda, in another jurisdiction when he was our portfolio minister, the brainchild of the consumer alert in that stoplight production, red for highest prices and green for the lower prices, that's his brainchild. And what we did, it was during the period of high prices, and what we did was to establish a kind of countdown. So across the parishes, we select the major shopping points for consumers, and we select those items from the critical basket that the Planning Institute of Jamaica selects as the items critical to Jamaicans, and we monitor those prices. So each supermarket or wholesale, it is identified, the prices, where you get the highest, where you get the lowest. And it was a critical tool in stabilizing prices, because no outlet wanted to have a red mark in their box. So it was really functional, and it still is.
Yes. So are people using it really?
People,
do you know?
People are using the price inquiry tool, which is another area on our website where you can go, select the parish, select the item, check the price, and do a comparison to the month before or the year before. A lot of students, tertiary students who are doing economics and other areas of study, they also use the data to do comparisons.
Okay.
So the consumers themselves, they also, especially for our annual textbook survey, which is also published under that consumer alert tool, they also use the information for monitoring prices of textbooks.
Right. Textbooks, yes, we'll come to that. Talk to us about your complaint resolution services.
Well, the complaints resolution services is something that we constantly try to encourage consumers to utilize. We have this attitude in Jamaica, we can't bother, and we let it slide. However, we try to encourage consumers to complain more often than the last quarter. We had 121 complaints. We want more. What happens is, when there is a kind of anomaly, or if you feel somehow that you've been wronged in the marketplace, you go back to the provider of service, the vendor, you state exactly what the breach is or what you think you've been wronged. You then seek some kind of compensation, redress, or refund. If that doesn't work, then you come to us at the Consumer Affairs Commission. But we always encourage consumers to seek first a kind of relationship with the vendor. Find out, to let them know what went wrong, try to resolve it. If not, then you come to us to file a complaint, and we do the investigations.
Okay. We'll talk about filing a complaint in our next segment. We're talking consumer protection with communication specialist at the Consumer Affairs Commission, Dorothy Campbell. We'll be right back.
We share a lot of sensitive information and data. And once criminals get access to this information, indeed, people are at risk based on the sensitivity of the information that they share.
Welcome back to Get the Facts. We continue our discussion with communication specialist at the Consumer Affairs Commission, Dorothy Campbell. Ms. Campbell, what are some of the more frequent complaints that you get from consumers?
Well, the Consumer Affairs Commission has registered ever since we have been keeping records of complaints that the highest amount of complaints we receive are on about appliances and electrical equipment. It has always been that. And secondly, on motor vehicles.
On motor vehicles.
And then there are other categories that fall below
Right.
that, like furniture and etc.
Okay.
But it has always been electrical equipment, electrical appliances, and equipment.
Yes. So how do you deal with complaints? And what's
Well-
the process of getting, you started talking to us about that in the earlier segment.
Right. Well, what we do is that we encourage consumers to complain wherever they are. So if you're in the store and you are having a problem, or you're at the mechanic or wherever you are, you contact the Consumer Affairs Commission for anything unresolved. You may contact us by phone, you may email us, you may even send us a WhatsApp if you choose. Or you may walk into our offices in Kingston, Mandeville, or Montego Bay, and you sit down with a complaint officer who are, I must say, have been trained in dispute resolution strategies.
Okay.
Right. So they're equipped to deal with the aggressive
How come
sometimes.
dispute though?
Because sometimes the confrontational way in which these
Yes, okay.
cases
Yes,
evolve, you have to have the skill
Yes,
to
yes.
get them to calm down in order to get some progress with the towards resolution.
So we can complain from our phone by sending you a text message, an email,
Yes.
or
Go to our website,
yes.
because our website does afford a complaints form. You can submit that. The complaint officer will then use that to contact the consumer.
Yes.
However, we must say you must always give us a contact number
Yes.
that is workable, working, and that we can use, because the first step is to speak with the complainant and then with the vendor, so that we can put the information together to determine whether or not.
So I filed my complaint. How long is this going to take? Or?
Well, it depends. Some cases take 24 hours, some take 24 minutes, because very often a complaint comes to us because of the unwillingness of compromise between both the vendor and the consumer. And a simple intervention by the CAC would resolve that issue. However, it may also take 24 days if it's a case where, for instance, we need a third-party expert to either run some tests and give us an independent report, or if we need the Bureau of Standards of Jamaica to test an item. So it depends on what the nature of the complaint is about.
So you have a set time within which you start the process.
Right.
And that would be...
A consumer can expect a call back if they submit a complaint within a day or two. Most consumers will receive a call within a day or two.
Yes.
But we do have a standard within the office that the process would go within 9 days. However, if the vendor is not responding to our queries or our demands, depending on the level, then it will extend the period of investigation.
So we're in back to school shopping period, you know. Everybody's out now shopping, busy. What are some of the advice? What advice will you give people who are shopping now for school books, for shoes, for all the things you need for your children?
Well, the first thing that the Consumer Affairs Commission advises parents to do is to shop at home first. So you do your research at home, because going out to shop means that you would have done your comparative shopping. You've already located the best prices, where you're going to buy what, because the one-stop shop sounds convenient, but it's not always the best way to go about it. So what we try to do is we offer the annual textbook survey, which is the database comes from the Ministry of Education. It gives us all the approved texts. We then verify those texts in terms of publication, edition, etc. And then we go, we have our field officers, our survey officers go to the bookstores to verify availability and price. Once we have done that, we then determine the publication and we do our analysis. The research department, they're working very hard right now to go through the data to ensure that the books that they have are the books that have been approved, and even the approved list are the matches back to the list that the schools
so if it's edition 15, you have to buy that because edition 14 will be different.
Exactly.
Yes. Let's move now to buying shoes. When we're buying shoes for the children, we should not go. There are some tips not to go in the evening or what else?
Yes, we normally ask consumers to be wise about shoe shopping because what happens is that the body functions in a weird kind of way, especially in the summer. And the kids, they're playing football, they're doing everything, the feet are swollen.
Right.
So they fit differently in the evening than in the morning.
And always take the child with you.
And
it's
always take the child with you because they do their growth spurts in the summer.
Yes.
So you might think you have a size 6 when you go, it's a size 7. So
to prevent having to return an item, and I talk about, is there a returns policy?
There's not a general return
policy. Because you know what, I went to buy something last week, and the person in the store told me, I cannot return. I said, what if I take it? So it doesn't work. Can I take it back? She frankly said, she just said no.
Well, there's no general return policy that we can impose on a vendor. However, if you have bought an item and that item does not function in the manner in which it was, then the CAC will step in and say to that vendor, the consumer has a right.
Yes. Not if you don't like it, if you don't like it again.
No, we don't arbitrarily defend the consumer on just a trivial thing as I don't like the color or I changed my mind or no.
But if it doesn't function.
But if it doesn't function or it's a substandard good, or for instance, you buy a wedding dress and it doesn't fit properly for your wedding, a reasonable vendor will understand that there must be an exchange at this point because of the critical purpose of the item.
Yes.
So it takes a matter of reasonableness between the vendor and the consumer. And very often, that's how we get to intervene.
Yes.
And we resolve issues based on just reasoning with the vendor to say, you need your customers.
So
as
we wrap, just remind us what to do if we need to get to the Consumer Affairs Commission.
Well, you can do the traditional snail mail, but you may email us. You may call us at 876-906-5425. You may hit us up on Facebook and send us a message, or you may go to our website and send us, go on our complaints resolutions form, or you may send us an email at info@cac.gov.jm. And if it's a complaint, if it's advice, if it's tips for back to school, whatever the reason, consumer alert publication, we're saying hit us up on any of those. And we're going to now put a plug in because we are now about to launch our free app. So we're asking persons to go to the Google Play Store, download the CAC app, and you will get your consumer alerts, you will get your news about any food safety issue, etc.
Okay, one last thing. Where can persons access the textbook survey?
Well, that has not yet been published, but it will be published partially on our website at www.cac.gov.jm, and we are hoping to partner with some publications to ensure that consumers are able to get that. But we say to parents, they can call us, and we can access whatever parish, location, bookstore for the prices on their behalf.
Thank you so very much, Ms. Campbell.
Thank you for having me.
This has been Get the Facts, and our guest was Dorothy Campbell, Communication Specialist at the Consumer Affairs Commission. To watch this program again, log on to our social media handle, YouTube.com/WatchJIS, and stay connected via our website at jis.gov.jm. Until next time, I'm Enthros Campbell. Take good care.
Coffee was introduced to Jamaica in 1728. Creighton Estate was established around 1765, and the Blue Mountain Range and the central region of Jamaica, which is the Grand Ridge of Jamaica, were the major coffee producing regions. Currently, we are fully certified under the Rainforest Alliance, and we are the very first entity in the Caribbean region to attain that certification. Now, the Blue Mountain Range of Jamaica is a microclimate of the island and has provided the perfect conditions for growing the Arabica coffee. A typical day in the Blue Mountain, the most sunlight is in the mornings from about 11:32 to 4 p.m. You know, this is the weather that we experience. This is a norm in the Blue Mountain. It's nothing unusual, you know, for the range to be covered with mist. And after sunset, the temperature basically goes below 20 degrees Celsius. So those are the perfect ingredients to develop high quality coffee. You know, the culture here is rich. We're an extremely creative, you know, set of people. In Jamaica, there's everything. If you're a nature lover, we have it. If you like the wetlands, we have it. You know, great coffee, you know, great food. You know, God has been good to us. You know, the God has been good to us. The universe has been good to us, you know, as a country. You know, and, this rock, I love it, man. I love it.
The Denby Agricultural Show is a 3-day event which started today. Every year it's filled with lots of exciting displays and agricultural produce. So take some time over the next 2 days to check out the booths, sample new manufactured goods, and just enjoy yourself. In the meantime, let's take a look back at one of the displays at last year's Youth in Agriculture Village, the hydraulic slotted pig pen.
We normally clean this system on a daily basis by using a shovel to gather the feces across the slots. Some of the feces normally falls into the slot, and the rest that doesn't fall in, we have a 2-inch hole at the end of the slotted area where we push all of the feces into it. The pit system for the slotted system is normally built with a degree of slope. That is sloped to a vent area where it is released into the biodigester.
What if I told you there's an easier way to do this? Students from the Ebony Park Arts Academy in Maypen, Clarendon have designed a unique way, modern if I may say, of effectively cleaning your pig pen. A design which they had on display at the recently held Denby Agricultural Show. Take a look.
This is a pig pen, but not just any pig pen. This is a hydraulic slotted pig pen. Normally, pig pens aren't made to just move up and down. They don't have any up and down movements. So with this pen now, we make it that it can use the hydraulic system and let it go up for better sanitization of the pen itself. So this pen is connected to a biodigester. This biodigester is a system where the waste/the effluent from this pig pen can be converted to a gas called methane, which can be used like a fuel in the home, or it can be used to help with the maintenance of this because it can use to power this system itself.
As said before, this is a hydraulic slotted pig pen, therefore after a while there will be a buildup of feces and excessive bacteria beneath the pen. Therefore the hydraulic system would come in place because this would allow us to clean beneath the pen effectively. Before we clean beneath the pen, we place a fiberglass beneath the pen to prevent the excessive feces and waste material from passing through because we don't want it to touch you while we are beneath the pen cleaning. So this is when the pen goes up, and it will allow you to clean beneath the pen effectively to reduce the amount of bacteria and have a safe and disease-free pen. Afterwards, after you have done cleaning, you place the pen back into its designated area and remove the fiberglass and sanitize it. And that's the pen.
Our course is general agriculture. In general agriculture, we do with the husbandry practice and the cleaning of pens and sanitation and so forth. But we have slatted pen down there. And we have noticed that, you know what, with the slatted pen now, after a period of time, you may have a accumulation of bacteria because of small pieces of feces here and there. And remember, the swine/the pig are some animals which they easily catch disease and are easily infected. So that is why and how we come up with this invention. We don't have lots of difficulty because our senior instructor, Sir Calvin Wills, has supplied us with most of the resources needed. But the challenge that we face was mainly making this component, making the up and down movement without the use of electricity. So we had to think about it shortly. We just buck up on some syringes. So what we did was, we noticed that when you connect two syringes with a tube, when you push one down, the other one will go up. So we think about it and say, mainly we can use this as the hydraulic component of it using water. Like a liquid, you can use any liquid, not a too thick liquid, a liquid which can flow freely and make the movement. So we have the tendency to connect the syringe to each corner, to 4 corners, and to these syringes we connect them on the framing. So when we have the tendency to push down the syringe, the pen will go up, and when we push up the syringe, the pen will go down. So that is our hydraulic component of the system.
Youth involvement in agriculture is top priority for the government. And with a system like this one, designed to integrate modern technology and agriculture, what more could you possibly ask for?
So many wish they could visit our shores. We live where they vacation. Brand Jamaica beckons all from the 4 corners of the earth.
Well, as a Jamaican, I have great pride in selling it. You know, your pride that you sell Jamaica with is something that it rolls off. Jamaica has so much to offer, and every time I have the privilege of bringing an executive down to Jamaica, an executive from an airline or a tour operator or a travel agency, and you take them across the country, you know, the pride that they said, wow, I can't imagine, especially when it's their first time. Wow, I love this.
Build it. Cherish it. Our wealth is Brand Jamaica.
It's the holiday weekend, lots of parties or celebrations which may include excess drinking. If it is that you're going out and you know you will be drinking, may I beg you, make somebody else drive. Having a designated driver will easily save your life and the lives of others. No bother speed. Trust me, it won't make you early if you're already late. Drive for yourself and others, not only this holiday period, but every day you go out on the road, as we aim to make Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. Thanks for watching another edition of Jamaica Magazine. Do join us again tomorrow when we'll do this all over again. Send your feedback on today's show to jamaicamagazine@gis.gov.jm. Also, follow us on all our social media pages, Instagram, Facebook, and of course, there's Twitter. Download our app on your Apple and Android devices, and you can also visit our website, jis.gov.jm, for more information. On behalf of the entire production crew, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
This week on Wealth Magazine Business Access, we'll be speaking with Jean Laurie Chin, Executive Chairman of PROCOM, PRODEV, and CCRP. Born a daughter of the plains of Savannah-la-Mar, Jean shares her story about her formative years in rural Jamaica and being schooled from an early age by her parents and mentors about the importance of hard work, meticulousness, and compassion. Jean Laurie Chin also talks about the importance of family, her fascination with the written word, and how an act of charity formed the foundation of what is now her legacy and contribution to Brand Jamaica.
My name is Jean Laurie Chin. I'm the Executive Chairman of PROCOM, PRODEV, and CCRP. I was born in Westmoreland, Jamaica, educated first in Westmoreland, then in Kingston, and I went into journalism because that was really my whole objective in life, to be a journalist. Went into journalism and then was persuaded to go into public relations. So as a result of that, I still combine my journalism experience. So I'm a columnist with an advertising and public relations company, which is PROCOM. And then having watched my parents' example of, building and creating new things, I started a new company, PRODEV, and feeling very grateful after 30 years of business at PROCOM to my mentors, especially my parents and other seniors. I started a seniors organization called the Caribbean Community of Retired Persons, CCRP for short. So I am actually concurrently running those 3 organizations with a fantastic team. I was born in a little district called Hartford in Westmoreland. The circumstances of my birth is really funny. And my mother used to say, this is why Jean loves to dance. Because what happened was that in this little district, it was near Christmas, December the 5th, and so that was when the Jonkona was moving around the district. And she said that night, it was late at night, the Jonkona came in the yard and they were there drumming and dancing. And she said all of a sudden, she felt me moving as if I was dancing. And before she knew it, she was in labor. It was as if I couldn't wait to get out to be in this big excitement that was taking place. And so this is why I wrote this poem in my book, Soul Dance, called Jonkona Baby. And I ended by saying, so you take a big chance if you ask me for a dance, because this quiet-looking lady is a born Westmoreland Jonkona baby. My parents were very humble people, shopkeepers. My dad got sick when I was 4, passed away, leaving my mother with 4 little children. The youngest was 7 months. And so I watched my mother start her little shop in Savannah-la-Mar, and little by little added one case, then another case and some shelves, and created a business, this single woman, all on her own with 4 little ones. And then she married this wonderful gentleman, Jocelyn Laurie, who became a father, not a stepfather. Very caring, and he was a bright accountant. So he married young Maisie Laurie with her 4 children, and we all moved to Kingston. He worked with the accounting firm Paul Goldson, and then he continued to study and became a chartered accountant and started his own business. Then illness struck, and he had to move his business to a home office in his little house in Pembroke Hall, which was supposed to have been just a stop on his way up. Well, that is where we stopped because he was wheelchair bound. But as a result of that, though, his 4 children had to learn how to use the adding machine, had to learn how to type his letters, and he kept most of his clients because he was so brilliant. He was a tax expert. And so again, that was another lesson in life, that whatever life gives you, you need to make the most of it. And so my father continued on his path to excellence. People say, you know, how did you learn management? That's how I learned management, because my degree was really in the arts. But I grew up learning management. Again, my mom was very ambitious for her children. So she found out that the best school in Savlamar was being run by the Sisters of Mercy, a Catholic prep school. Of course, you know, her funds were very low. So she bartered groceries from her shop, and she sewed the altar tablecloths for the priest, and wheeled and dealed and got her 2 little girls into St. Mary's Academy. Now, this was a prep school where the children of the doctors and the lawyers, you know, just the better off children went to. And those Sisters of Mercy were wonderful. And so I have had the Sisters of Mercy in my life from I was about 6 years old until I was 17. And then Sister Mary Bernadette Little, who was our principal at Alpha, was such a strong leader that she also made a huge impression on me. And it was because of her, I think, and because of this other nun who mentored me in prep school, that I wanted to really enter the convent. I applied when I was in 5th form to enter the convent. But at that time, there were a lot of people leaving the convent, young women. And so I was advised to work for a year before I entered. And while I was in 6th form, I met Hubie Chin, my husband. So I became engaged and married him. But I always remained very close to the Sisters of Mercy, because as a student, I used to do retreats. I used to be very close to them. And so just last year, I was invited to become an associate of the Sisters of Mercy, where you do have to make a commitment. And so I made my commitment last year, October, which is, it means that you must be committed to the charisms of mercy. It is a promise that you look on people and situations with compassion, with understanding, with mercy. And so it tells you, stop, don't judge. Think about the place that that person is coming from before you judge them. And have good thoughts about people. And instead of criticizing, maybe you could find a way of helping, of mentoring. I think you have just so much energy and so much time. Why not use that energy and that time to help to uplift somebody, to help to encourage somebody, and sometimes do the difficult things? Since you have just that much time, why not use it in as positive a way as you can? The thing I say about when you're working for people and when you're doing your work reflects you. So if you want to be viewed as someone of excellence, as a professional, then you must give it your 150%. You must go the extra mile. 100% is not enough.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters. Call us at 876-618-2870 or email us at sales@batvja.com. Business Access TV, serious about business.
We are back with another exciting, innovative, and inspiring season.
It takes a lot of stick-to-itiveness, being consistent and persistent in whatever you're doing. That's the bottom line.
Business exists to add value to people's lives. And if we're not doing that, might as well we lock down the store and just call it a day.
It's of Season 3 of Creating Wealth, Mondays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
So my first job was at Chinese Travel Service, and it was so exciting. I had a wonderful mentor, our manager. She was Sonia Phillips. She's now Sonia Sage. And so we were going on these what you call fam tours, where you get free trips, you get discounts. Oh, I enjoyed it so much. And I remember one day, I think at about 9 months after I was working with her, she said to me, listen, you need to go to university. And I said, but I can't afford to go to university. She says, and I said, it's too late to apply anyway. She says, I know somebody up there. I'm going to send you up there. Of course, I wasn't very willing. She sent me up there. The lady said I was late, so I felt very relieved because I didn't want to give up my farm trips. And so I filled out the form and everything. Lo and behold, I was accepted. Do you know that I was in tears at Chinese, and she was there saying, you don't have any ambition, you were accepted, you're going. I said, how am I going to manage? And she said, okay, I will hire you back for every break you have, whether it's summer, Christmas, Easter, so you can still earn. So I was able to earn my way through university.
It was a new day, precious day, when my Chinaman jumped to the rhythm of Jah with a 1-foot shuffle and an eye to the sky and him locks semi-dot, just a shade and a fly.
I was always in love with the written word. I started writing poetry from I was very young. But to have professors like Professor Edward Bohr, Professor Maureen Warner Lewis, and Mervyn Morris, it was just so inspiring, and I decided I wanted to be a journalist. So just the year I graduated, which was 73, that was the year that Carl Hendrickson's Continental Company started a newspaper called the Daily News. And I decided I wanted to join this fresh new paper. They didn't advertise, they didn't have any vacancies, so I just arrived and said I needed to see the editor. So they said, but the editor is busy. So I said, I just need 1 minute of his time. I just need a job, I have this passion. And they said, well, we're sorry, he doesn't have any time and we don't have any vacancy. So I said, I'll wait because I just need 1 minute. So I sat there and the secretary kept passing me until she just got totally fed up. And she said, okay. This was about 2 hours after, come, Mr. Prout, his name was J.C. Prout, we'll see you. He says, young lady, 1 minute. And I talk so fast. Mr. Prout, I want to be a writer. I promise you I'll work hard, however many hours a day, whatever. He looked at me. He sent upstairs for his features editor, a brilliant man called George Graham. George asked me 2 more questions, and then they said, okay, come to work tomorrow. I said, tomorrow? But I have nothing to wear. Well, don't ask if they didn't laugh. They said, here it is, we give you a job, and your problem now is that you don't have anything to wear. In this world, you can wear your jeans, you can wear anything, just come to work tomorrow morning. So that was the beginning of my love affair with the written word. It was an act of kindness that started Procom. Let me tell you what happened. Dunlop used to take the children of National Children's Home every year for a treat by the pool. And this was 1978. And the children had a sweet drink and some pastry. And I said, could they get a hamburger? And they said, well, our budget, understandably, is kind of tight because they had rented a bus and everything. I said, I went upstairs and I said, could I please speak to the marketing manager, who turned out to be Carol Guntley. I said, Carol, I would like these children to get hamburgers. I promise you I'll work on free publicity for the Pegasus in return. She said, okay. So all the little children got hamburgers. They were so excited. I mean, there was a photograph of a little boy like this saying his prayers over his hamburger, which they turned into a greeting card. And So we had all of these pictures taken, and I sent them to the Daily News where I used to work. And I went to the editor, I said, please, 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 I beg you. They gave me a full page spread of these children having a wonderful time at the Jamaica Pegasus. So I got a call from the Pegasus to say, could you freelance for us? It was just going to be me and an assistant. I said I wanted a peaceful life, but for some reason, more people needed our services. The thing I say about when you're working for people and when you're doing your work reflects you. So if you want to be viewed as someone of excellence, as a professional, then you must give it your 150%. You must go the extra mile. 100% is not enough. In 1988, when our second child came along, my husband, Hubie Chin, and I discussed how we would balance business and family to ensure that neither of them would suffer. And he made the very selfless decision to leave his high-paying position as production manager with a major company to join the business. And we were very fortunate that he did, because at that same time there was this development in information technology. And if we did not have his engineer's mind to help us navigate this new development, I don't think we would be where we are today. He sent himself to seminars, trained in information technology, and became the go-to person in setting up our systems and keeping us abreast of all the developments in the area of information technology. So hats off to you, Hubie. This year, Procom is actually 39 years old. Just about 3 years ago, we decided to do a development at Kingsway. We started another company, so Procom begat ProDev. Now, CCRP is a non-profit and a charitable organization. I started that company after the 30th anniversary of Procom. I looked back and I said, what should I do to give back after this 30 years of success? We were successful. And I thought back to my mother, primarily, who had continued to serve on our board until she was 85, and said, you know, let me have an organization that can show the true respect that we should have for seniors, to empower them. And so we started the Caribbean Community of Retired Persons. And that was 7 years ago, so we're into our 7th year now. We ran it out of Procom. We continue to run it out of Procom. It's costly, but I think we're getting to the point now where we're becoming more sustainable, because now we have over 1,000 members, and also because of the initiative of one of our board directors, Mike Fraser. 3 years ago, we got the Sagicor major medical health insurance for seniors. And remember, once you get to 60, you get kicked off health insurance now. So this became a great drawing card for CCRP, because here it is, people over 50 could get major medical health insurance for, I think it's now about, because the premium went up a little, 22,000 Jamaican dollars per annum, covering you for up to $5 million. So, and there's no age limit. We have people in their 80s who applied for this health insurance and got it. I would like to use this opportunity to call on board directors, to call on managers to step up, to be courageous enough to take on governance as a serious mandate in your organization.
They say it takes a village to raise a child, but the world will one day need the leadership of that child. The time you spend with your child matters. It stimulates their minds and shapes the way they act. Talk with your children. Help them to better understand the world around them and to value what is truly precious. Above all, the most valuable gift you can give them is love. Play, talk, teach, love. Take the time. It makes all the difference. A message from the Parenting Helpline and Ad Council Jamaica.
Stay current and gain more information on the ever-evolving industry of real estate on Home Sweet Home, Sundays at 4:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Call it the conspiracy of mediocrity. That challenge links to working with organizations sometimes, or persons sometimes, who really do not want somebody of excellence around them. I would like to use this opportunity to call on board directors, to call on managers to step up, to be courageous enough to take on governance as a serious mandate in your organization. Because what it will do, is that it's going to just open more doors for you. You are going to move up, and again, don't be afraid of people coming up, because that's what happens to, there is a brilliant person down there, but the manager is not so brilliant. And so that manager may see that person as a threat, and that person therefore is held back. So I think we really need to be a little more honest with each other, more respectful of each other, and not frustrate people. This brain drain thing, it happened in the 70s. I don't think we've really recovered from it. I think now we're hearing more about governance, and I'm really praying that that we'll turn a corner. I'm also chairman of the Digicel Foundation, which is involved in, special needs, community entrepreneurship for community development, and education. So there are the seniors who, they are the most appreciative people that you could ever meet. Then there are the people from the Digicel Foundation. Before that, I was chairman of Stella Maris Foundation, and I led the fundraising for the headquarters at Grand Spend. That's what keeps me going. What keeps me going are these ambitious, courageous Jamaicans who, some of them have nothing, and even out of their nothing, they're helping others. Even out of their nothing, they're building. And I remember one lady who was our household worker, and then she decided to go to the country and became a dressmaker. And she told me that every Sunday she would cook the Sunday lunch, and before she and her children sat down, she would share out 2 plates of lunch for these elderly people in her community and walk and give them their lunch or feed them if they needed to be fed before going back home. Now, this is a poor woman. That is what keeps me going. That there is so much courage in this country, there's so much faith, there's so much kindness in this country. And I think if we can just tap into that, into the better part of Jamaica, we can make a change. And it needs more of us to believe in our people, to make the sacrifices to create even the few little jobs that we have created in our company, and to reach out. We have scholars that we send to school. We have 7 scholars in Grand Spend that we support throughout their schooling. And every year on Mandela Day, we have a special thing for them, and every Christmas, we have a special event for them. We're a small company, but guess what? Everybody can do something. And I think that is what keeps us going, the fact that because we have done well, we can do good. I'm not sure if it is a piece of advice or it is watching some of our wonderful Jamaicans, how they operate. I know, for example, there is Wycliffe Bennett, who never allowed a letter to leave his desk without it being letter perfect. I remember my father, who who always spoke about excellence. I remember my mother, who made something out of nothing. And then more recently, some of our own clients. Carl Hendrickson, Butch Hendrickson. Carl Hendrickson, he supported his children and helped them to discover their talents. And now each of the four of them, each of them is in a thriving business. And so when we started ProDev, I actually told Butch, I said, Butch, I'm trying in my humble way to follow the Carl Hendrickson model, which is to try and discover the best in your children. So that was an aha moment for me when I asked him how did he manage to get his children to be so. He says, Jean, you look at your children, you see where their strengths are, and you try to help them to develop those strengths. That helped me a lot. Another thing that helped me a lot was to see Dennis O'Brien, the chairman of Digicel, just come into Jamaica. And even when people were telling him that Jamaica was not the best place, some Jamaicans were telling him, and he decided to come here. And I said, but if this gentleman from Ireland can come to Jamaica and develop his business here and celebrate the caliber of Jamaican people and then go and build this huge regional headquarters downtown, then why are we napping? And then of course there's Butch Hendrickson, Butch is kindness personified. As he works, so he gives. As he produces, so he gives. He's passionate about education. He puts his money where his mouth is. So I would say it's not really verbal advice, but it's just watching how people give back, watching how people have the courage to make that step. And you say, well, if they can do it, then we must try to do it too. But when I hear people saying, oh, I can't have children, I said, no, you can. You can, because our children came home when they were 6 weeks. So we did everything, the midnight feeds and the first step and the first tooth, and they are our children. We just could not love them anymore. And we're so proud of them, because now Anita, my daughter, is running that cafe. Our son is the property manager for the units that we own in that building and some other investments that we have. And they are hardworking young people. They both, my son went to Humber, where he did hospitality management, worked at Sandals for a while, and then we said, no, we need your personality in our business. So we're all working, it's a family business. Under God's unblinking eye, we all have lived, we all have died. Dust and ash are wealth and glory. Our deeds are our enduring story. Life's trials are a test of love. Will you be vulture or will you be dove? Work is prayer. Do it well to cool the heat in someone's hell. Gently take your neighbor's hand, then step lightly in this land. That is what wealth means to me.
Usain Bolt, the fastest man in the world, and you're watching Business Access.
You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Serious about business.
Business Access TV comes to you from the 2018 staging of the PSOJ President's Forum Service Excellence Awards. I'm Javon Keys and we're here to bring you the highlights. Stay tuned.
The purpose of this award is really to raise the bar for service excellence in Jamaica. Organizations apply for the award, and what we have found over the years is that organizations improve significantly. See, when you go through a process of assessing your organization on very specific criteria, it opens your eyes as to what your strengths and the gaps are, and so companies work assiduously to improve on it. So over the years, we have seen an increase in the quality of the service delivered by the winners in this competition. First of all, they apply, and their application is screened. Once they are screened, if they score a particular score, then they are selected and shortlisted for a site visit. Now we have trained examiners who actually go into the organizations to assess the organization against these criteria, looking for objective evidence, because anybody can write anything on an application, but we have to look for the evidence, and then on the basis of that, the panel of assessors get together and submit a report to the panel of adjudicators, which are the judges, of which I'm the chief judge, and it's from that process we select the final winner in 3 categories: the large company, the medium-sized company, and the small company. Now this year we're also giving category awards because there are 7 categories against which the organization is assessed: leadership, customer charter and standards, training and capacity development, international benchmarks, monitoring and recognition, monitoring and measurements, recognition and reward, and complaints management. So we're giving awards in these because some companies excel in these areas and they might not win the big award, and so on the basis of that we figure that encouragement sweetens labor, so we give awards to those who merit it.
I'm just reminding you that we are in a context that does not afford us the luxury of behaving like savages, of doing whatever we want to do, whenever we want to do it, and of treating ourselves as dirt. This is not the world that we are going to succeed in if we are going to succeed. So, self-respect and a common belief in our country, a caring commitment to our fellow citizens, are a part of the underpinning of customer service, of good governance, that must be an essential part of whatever progress that we hope to make as a nation. We must develop ourselves to be people of our word, to keep our commitments, not to make throwaway promises every election time that we all know will never be kept, and we all know we won't ask to be committed, to be fulfilled. We must build institutions that are credible, that give value for money every time, that are honest stewards of our stakeholders' interests, that value transparency and accountability over individual or partisan interests. So, when in 2017, I spoke and said that 2018 would be a crossroads year, and that we must develop our human capital to support our economic reforms, I wasn't just talking about technical skills training. That is important, it's critical. But we must forge a new national culture of mindfulness of others, of self-respect, and of integrity. And I know I get controversial from time to time. And when I criticize the government, or I criticize politicians, it's not partisan. It's not personal. It is just that they are our leaders, and they are held to a higher standard of customer service. They are out there. They hold themselves out just like we do, just like every leader of company, every manager who is on the forefront of a company. You hold yourself out to uphold the values of that company which you promote. So that our leaders must obey a higher moral and legal code of governance for us to follow. Otherwise, no amount of economic progress will stop us from failing as a nation.
We're pleased to be a part of this event that celebrates customer service, an aspect of business that we believe is critical to ultimate survival and success of any venture. Rubis, as a proud member of the PSOJ, applauds the Jamaica Customer Service Association, Jackson, for this very worthwhile initiative. I commend the many local businesses that are being celebrated today for their commitment to excellence in service. It is important that we recognize and promote the need for quality customer service across all business sectors. At Rubis, we look at customer service in a very holistic way, where exceptional engagement can be experienced on multiple levels. We strive for quality customer interaction on the service station forecourts, as well as in our convenience stores. You may have noticed that Rubis is rolling out a new experience in retailing via our Ultra Shops, delivering a clean, well-lit, well-merchandised shopping experience, representative of the Rubis brand promise.
Mr. Mitchell spoke about mindfulness. What a way to begin. Raymond touched on transformational. Now those two things to me already mean something just by the mere fact I'm here today. Every time I sit in an audience such as this, I'm actually humbled. I'm humbled because when I listen to the person they're introducing, I wonder who they're talking about. Because I don't consider myself to be any different to anybody else who is in this room, regardless of what certification, educational development you have. To me, we're all equal at the foot of the Lord. And so the Private Sector Service Excellence Awards is designed to help organizations improve service quality and to recognize the private sector organizations that consistently, and I'd like to advocate and say again the word consistently, deliver excellent customer service through a clearly defined strategic approach. The PSOJ and the JACSA are firm believers that the success of private sector organizations is dependent on consistent delivery of service excellence. Research has identified a positive correlation between customer service and customer satisfaction and profit and growth. The PSOJ and JACSA encourage companies to continue working towards improving their levels of customer service and to maintain service standards to further the growth and development of their organizations. Now, again, as I sat this morning and I listened to Mr. Mitchell, you really couldn't miss the fact that you're listening to someone, and even at the table that I'm fortunate to be seated at today, I'm surrounded by individuals that when you listen to them, they're all passionate about the reason why we're in this room this morning. So today I have bad news and good news. The bad news is, ladies and gentlemen, customer service is more and more becoming a lost art. Almost like sunken treasure on a ship. The good news is you've all now just become pirates of the Caribbean, and your job is to find this treasure and restore it to its original position, which means excellence has got to be the hallmark of what we do every day. From the simple things to the big things, it has to start somewhere. Service is the rent we pay for being. It is the very purpose of life and not something you do in your spare time. In most Western countries, service accounts for more than 75% of GDP, a share that will continue to increase. It is without a doubt that service is an important competitive advantage for many companies where differentiation is often achieved by service attributes provided. This is why you must find it and make it important in our society.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life. Delighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life turns art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
Violence is bad. Violence against our innocent little children is terrible. Pretending not to notice when we know or suspect that a child is suffering is awful and morally wrong. In the words of the great Nelson Mandela, there can be no keener realization of a nation's soul than the way in which it treats its children. Think about that for a second. I have a voice. It's one of my gifts. I intend to use it on behalf of our children. No more violence against our children. Make your move to stop violence against our children right now. No more. No more. No more.
the moment that many of us have come here for, in addition to the inductees and to hear Mr. Mitchell and to hear Dr. Brown. These are the award criteria. And I know we've been having a lot of discussions as to how is it that we are going to get service excellence to be embodied and entrenched in organizations and be woven into the very fabric and the DNA of the organization. This is it, folks. So it begins with leadership, strategy, and governance. This is what the organizations have been assessed on. Their customer service standards and customer service charter. The charter is your promise to the customers. The standards, how do you do what you do in order to deliver service excellence all the time? And these must be codified and lived and not be a paper tiger. We have found that the organizations that have people who have been given the responsibility to, one, live service excellence, train others in service excellence, monitor the whole business of service excellence and performance against standards. When you have a cadre of people who live it and monitor it and help people to improve, it is amazing to see the difference it makes in an organization. So the winners are, come on folks, drum roll, drum roll, drum roll, drum roll, drum roll. Yeah. We're going to start first with the category awards, and this year we made a decision to give category awards in the medium and small category and category awards in the large company. We have for leadership and strategy, Massey Gas Products. And in the large company category, Sagicor Group. And for monitoring and measurements, in the small medium category, we have Yellow Media Jamaica. We start with the overall winner in the small company category. May I invite Sarifa Insurance Brokers to join us. The large company winner, and that is Victoria Mutual Group. May I invite Miss Jennifer McDonald and Mr. Howard Mitchell to present a special award to Rubis Energy Jamaica for their consistent support in service excellence.
It's always a pleasure to be recognized by the PSOJ and Jamaica Customer Service. You know, I think this award is very timely for us. I mean, we entered in 2015 and 2016, we're also winners. We sat out last year and we came back again this year. So we're very appreciative of being recognized, as I said, from the PSOJ and Jamaica Customer Service Association in terms of what we're doing, not only for external customers, but for our internal customers, which is our team members. From the start, it's Sarifo. Service and technology has always been the forefront of what we do. You know, from the beginning, I told my team members, you know, we cannot see ourselves as a perpetual work in progress. So the last thing you want to do is to remain stagnant. I mean, we're in a dynamic world of technology. Things are changing, you know, every second, and we always have to be ahead of the game in terms of not only how we treat our customers in terms of service, but also technology in how we're delivering our service to our customers.
It's a fulfilling feeling because we have been a member of the PSOJ for a number of years, and anything that we can do to encourage quality, and in this particular case in customer service, is something we fully endorse. It's our lifeblood because, as you know, we are a retail organization. It means that we interact with thousands of customers on a daily basis, and we have to ensure that in our delivery that we're delivering best service at all times.
It is a fantastic feeling. In fact, this is our third time winning. We have won the 3 times we have entered, and it's really just a testament to our work. We value our customers. We believe we exist only because of our customers. And I think this is testament of our work. At Gaspro, we believe at the end of the day, it's about the customer. And it's because of the customer why we exist. So we really take this as a testament to our service of our customers who go from a 25 kg user in the hills of Clarendon to a big hotel on the North Coast. And we really value and celebrate what we have been able to do. And we are glad to have been recognized by our peers.
This is very important to us. This is really our means of supporting customer service excellence in Jamaica. We recognize that this service excellence event, is a major catalyst. It serves as a catalyst to encourage organizations to put in systems and processes in place to deliver excellent customer service. Because at the end of the day, customer service is a very important pillar in growing your business. And we're all operating in an environment that's in a global environment. And if we are to be competitive as companies in Jamaica, we have to see customer service as an important pillar. So we have been supporting this. It was easy for us really to make the decision to sponsor the awards, and we have been doing this for over 4 years. And we certainly enjoy this partnership with the Jamaica Customer Service Association and PSOJ. We are a proud member of the PSOJ, so we see this as our contribution to the organization of which we are a part.
I think we are getting there. I think we have just completed, we just ended the 3-year medium term, and I know that we are working with the PSOJ as they roll out the next 3. I think what you have seen today is an example of how companies have stepped up to the plate to offer good service, and not just to locally, but to internationally benchmarked standards. That is a part of the competition, the extent to which companies not only follow, but we can see that they are using international best practices. And so I think we have made a significant part of the journey. We are on a significant path. Of course, it needs to be improved because, we spoke about mindfulness, we spoke about happiness, because at the end of the day, you cannot serve others if you are not mindful of them. You cannot serve others if you yourself are not confident and happy in yourself. And so I think that was a running theme this morning. None of the speakers collaborated, but you would have seen that the themes about service excellence, we're doing it to please you, because when you're happy, we're happy. And there are multitudes of effects that come after. They say what's measured gets done. And so you need to set targets, you need to monitor them, you need to train your staff, because especially if you're in a service industry, persons will be different. And so you cannot assume that you have trained them last year and so that is fine. You need continuous training, and you need to constantly review and upgrade your standards. While we're talking today at our table, we said a lot of managers need to find a way to walk around to find out what's happening on the line with your customers, because your managers and directors will tell you what they think you want to know or want to hear. So as a good manager, you need to ensure that the standards you've set, that they are actually being implemented.
Means a lot because it speaks to the very core of why we exist, right? Why the PSOJ exists. PSOJ is representative of the private sector, a majority of the private sector in Jamaica, and representative of the principles and ideals and interests of the private sector. And service excellence is very near and dear to our hearts, so we will support this and we will continue to support it. I would say that in Jamaica we have issues with how we treat each other, generally, and customer service is an aspect of that, okay? We have issues with governance, which is an aspect or includes customer service and customer obligations. So we do have an issue. The issue is not just about customer service. The issue is in how we are mindful of the interests of others.
It's amazing, amazing. Certainly when we came here this morning, we felt like winners coming into the room, just having been nominated. So the fact that we actually received 6 of the 7 awards and the overall award. I mean, it's just an amazing feeling. I don't think that I've quite come to grasp it as yet. We don't really want to give away all our secrets, but suffice it to say that we, about a year, maybe just a little over a year ago, we formed a customer service unit, and this really was done in order to give a strategic focus to customer experience across the VM group. So what we had were like, separate entities having their own standards, doing their own thing, and nobody really driving the strategy around service experience. So just over a year ago, I joined VM, about 18 months actually, and one of my mandates, which came from our group CEO, Courtney Campbell, was the establishment of this customer experience function, which we did, recruited somebody to the position, Denise Williams, about a little over a year ago. And we have just been focused on establishing the standards, embedding new standards, monitoring the complaints, implementing a complaints management system. So for us in VM Group, we actually believe that we're just getting started. So to come away this morning with 6 awards, 6 category awards, and the overall award, we believe that that is just encouragement for us to continue on our journey and to really double down on what we're doing, because obviously we are doing something right.
And that's it from us here at the PSOJ President's Forum Service Excellence Awards 2018. I'm Javon Keys for Business Access TV, serious about business.
It's season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Every day you wake up, you have another opportunity to make this little island better, safer, a place where we all can be proud to call home. It's time we all recognize that every little thing we do has an impact on the Jamaica we live in now and the country we're leaving for our children. So promise me this, promise yourself this: no more will we tolerate criminals, even if it's our relatives. Tell them they're doing something wrong. Tell them to stop. Tell them no more robbing our children of the Jamaica they deserve. Tell them no more crime.
Caring Hands Season 3 continues to effect change in a changing environment.
Many of us were raised by grandmothers, right? So, we know the wisdom that these people have.
Going beyond business.
The little leaders of today are our leaders of tomorrow. And with the proper education we'll have very good leadership coming from that.
That's Season 3 of Caring Hands, creating change and shaping lives, every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
I'm Butch Hendrickson. You're watching BATV, Serious About Business.
The use of makeup goes back at least 6,000 years to the Egyptians and the Greeks. Even the Old Testament has recorded its use, with women who painted themselves to look more beautiful. Jamaica is one island with a high cosmetic import bill compared to our Caribbean counterparts, averaging above $3 billion since 2009. Today, the multi-billion-dollar industry has different dynamics compared to centuries before. On this episode of Career Moves, we visit the DeMarie School of Makeup Artistry, where we'll be taking a look at fantasy and special effects makeup.
My name is Dawn Lindo, CEO, DeMarie School of Makeup Artistry. I think the field found me, really. My passion was teaching and retail management, so I've done that for many of years for a company called Nordstrom in New Jersey, and moved from New Jersey to Florida and went to apply for a job at this place called Burdines. I think Macy's owned them now, and there was no available position, but the gentleman said, based on your resume, I'm hiring you. So, showed up the next day for work and someone called out of the Clinique department. You're familiar with Clinique Cosmetics. And I thought, what am I gonna go to Clinique to do? I don't even wear chapstick, I don't wear makeup. But you know, I think literally my life transformed within 2 days of being in Clinique. I saw women coming in to get their makeup done and confidence went from this to this. You know, they finished their makeup and they start fixing their hair, and I thought, okay, something is here. And the young lady that got sick actually just never came back to work. So I stayed with Clinique and did trainings, had to go through school. And because I was already in management, I got promoted to manage Estee Lauder. And that was just amazing. So I've done quite a few of the lines, went back to Clinique to manage for like another 3 or 4 years. And then after moving back to Jamaica and starting the school, I actually went to open the MAC store at Sovereign. So have been in the field for many, many years, since 1998. Fantasy makeup is not the acceptable norm. It's not something you're going to wear out on the road every single day. Sometimes persons throw themes, and you might want to create a makeup that will flow with the themes. Everything tells a story. So that's what fantasy really is. It's your imagination. How far can you go with your imagination and then bringing it to life? All right, so we are cleansing the face because of course, you know, you need a clean palette. I'm using a Smashback Photo Finish primer. Cameras love this because it blocks any form of sheen or any reflection that would come up underneath the makeup. We're going to make her into more of a punk rock girl. So I am going to create like a mask around her eyes, in black of course. Your eyes okay? I'm going to highlight the hair with maybe some pink glitter. This is where my paintbrushes come in. using L'Oreal, so I'm mixing the N7 and the N8 together. Special effects now, otherwise known as FX makeup, is the blood, the cut, the wounds, the burns, the scars. It's all of those things that we see in the movies but probably don't even realize that that's makeup. The first time I had to do a presentation for Ministry of Education, I used the Thriller video. And everybody was wondering, why are we here watching Michael Jackson? But that was the first time most of the persons who were there were now seeing it as makeup. You watch Thriller and you dance and you understand, but did you stop to think that the zombies, it's makeup? You understand? And that's where special effects fall in. So guys, this week, special effects, right? So we all kind of have an idea of what it is that we're trying to accomplish. In your notes, you would have already have step by step, but just for the demonstration, the first thing you're going to do is just as normal, you're going to clean the area, okay? So your alcohol and your wipes. This is where you would have used your liquid latex, but just showing you different things that you can use. So we're going to substitute the liquid latex for Ponal. We're actually going to use the tissue, right? We're creating flesh. So I'm not gonna go too many layers because we need to dry this and the Ponal might take a little while to dry. You might want to take your tweezer and create where you want your incision before it's too dry. I would encourage you to buy some of the lesser expensive products, if, you know, for special effects, because to be using L'Oreal for special effects, that's, you know, quite an amount, all right? You could either use your sponge or if you want to. I use regular paint brushes when I'm doing this because I don't want to ruin my makeup brushes with the glue and all that is happening, right? You could put some powder to set it. What colors do you see when you're doing a wound? You see, right? What else you see? Right, so you'll see like blacks and dark blues and right? No, this is a big cut, so you have to be very realistic when you're doing the blood, right? So this is fake blood, which is already was pre-made. So that's a simple wound, all right? So now that you have the concept, right, you can use that to create other things.
Special effects, fantasy, and one bag of things. Yeah, them something they kill you have and I to want to invest in that.
It's season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access. Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
All human life is precious. Respect life. No more senseless killings. No more.
No, I wouldn't. I am a makeup artist myself. I don't really specialize in that, but I just don't see the market for it here in Jamaica.
Yes, there is a market.
Not worth it. My advice is that just go States and just apply a makeup job up there.
Actually, I would consider it because anything having to do with entrepreneurship and working for yourself, I think is good business.
Not in Jamaica.
Of course, we have the ability to do it. If you go you take no people and go school for that. Yeah, we can make money from people who want to color them face through carnival, so them put on what you call it.
Them have a technique. I don't think Jamaica is equipped for that and all those things.
To me, there is a market for it. Might not be as much as if you were abroad, but there are people who will pay.
No, I'm go dead for hungry. I think it would do well abroad because, you know, you have a lot of production in movies and stuff like that.
They're not going to pay them. Special effects, fantasy and one bag of things. Yeah, them something they kill you have and you want to invest in that.
I think it is good. It is good out here. It is a good option. Yeah.
Special effects and fantasy makeup is still relatively new to Jamaica. But for those who already have an interest in makeup, Dawn Lindo highlights how to be on your way to become certified.
To get started, I think the first thing you need is a passion for the field. It can't be that, oh, it's making money and I want to do it. You have to have a passion for the field. We're licensed with City and Guilds of London, so we're an accredited center. City and Guilds allow us to take them at 16. The truth is we always say you have to complete high school because the level of work that goes on, you really have to be socially intelligent. They really have to be able to handle the coursework.
As you can see, I'm not there. I'm getting there though.
Persons come and they just want to get started right away. I mean, what is the history? Where did makeup come from? How did it start? What inspired it? And when we take persons through that, through the history of makeup, they develop a better love and respect for the industry. There are several areas that are covered in addition to the makeup units. It's like I said, the career industry, right? So you might come here and you might learn all these different areas of makeup, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you go out to bridal makeup. You could choose, like you said, special effects, and you could specialize in that, and you only work theater. Or you work movies, right? You'll have persons who they like the fantasies, so they do the face paintings and, you know, the fancy stuff. You'll have persons who choose the runway, so they really just focus on high fashion makeup. So there's really so much more, and education. I mean, makeup schools are looking for trained teachers, and what we find is a lot of makeup artists, but they're not trained teachers. So, you know, we have had students who have come through our doors and then go on to do their teaching and training certificate so they can turn around and also teach. And that's something that we offer too, teaching and training. For the teaching and training, it's a advanced diploma. It's also with City and Guilds. Now you need to either have a first degree to enter because we're only teaching you how to teach. So we only cover the aspects of teaching. We expect or we require you to have a first degree, or for persons who have already gone through one of our programs, the certificate that they would have gotten from here would qualify them to enter into the teaching and training program. And it is also accepted by Ministry of Education. I was doing a research recently, and it stated that by 2016, the beauty industry is expected to do $60.2 billion, okay? Now, think about this. This is a recession-free business. It's one of those businesses that no matter what is going on in the economy, persons see it fit to make sure that they look good. When you look good, you feel good. I don't think anybody will fight against that, right? And so number one, it is a recession-free business. No, like I said, image is everything.
Makeup may not be for everyday use, but as certain key industries evolve, its need will become more apparent, and it's hoped that more employment opportunities will become available.
A lot more persons, even our men, are becoming more conscious. Now, they're not necessarily wearing makeup, but they're spending more time cleaning their face, putting on a little moisturizer. I mean, skin cancer is real. It is real. And unfortunately, especially for us black folks, we feel we already have so much melanin in our skin, so we don't need sun protection, but we do. So a lot more persons are becoming more educated of the industry. And then TV, I mean, just everywhere you turn. Look at the fashion industry, look at where it has evolved to. You need makeup for all of that. Or entertainers, look at where reggae music has gone, look at the videos. Every day somebody is shooting something, every day. So you realize that the need for good makeup artists, I mean, it's there. It's going to take a little while for us to market ourselves, and not only that, for people to believe in us, because we still get to the place where persons would rather bring in a makeup artist from overseas to do a workshop than ask somebody in Jamaica. So, you know, it's like we still have that mindset where we think we don't produce anything good, but we do have good, talented, amazing people in Jamaica. And this is why I now up more to the classroom versus being out there on set. It has to start with training. No longer can we see ourselves as middle makeup, you know. That's not what this is. This is my life, this is my career. And just like you'd have to go to school for however long it takes you to become a doctor, and the respect is there, I think we have to start treating the art, whether it's makeup or visual arts or whatever art, we have to start treating that way, but I believe it starts with us. I was walking down Clock Tower and a young lady, Browning, you do your nails, you do your hair. And if that's how we're treating the industry, then nobody's really gonna take us seriously. So I think, you know, first the teachers, we have to show a level of professionalism and what the industry really is, because a lot of persons do. I still have students who come and week 2 into the program, they're like, oh my God, I never knew that. There's so many areas to makeup than just putting on some makeup. I'm not taking up a brush under $5,000, and I'm going to be honest with you.
Have you seen it? It's BATV Live. Live streams of business news weekdays at 7:30 p.m. Stay on point Thursdays at 8 p.m. with our Business Current Affairs show, and Weekend Business Report Saturdays at 7:30 p.m. wherever you are. Log on to our Facebook page at Business Access TV or visit our website at batvja.com. Live and at your fingertips. Business Access TV, serious about business.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters. Call us at 876-618-2870 or email us at sales@batvja.com. Business Access TV, serious about business.
Makeup artists still face difficulties with being adequately paid for their work. But Dawn stresses that artists must be first in developing respect for their craft for others to follow suit.
Unfortunately, people still look at it as, I just want a little makeup. It's not just a little makeup. I'm not taking up a brush under $5,000. And I'm going to be honest with you. I can't go to the doctor and say, I just have a little headache. Whatever the symptoms are, I have to pay whatever the fees are. If you go to pick up your results, you still have to pay that fee. So it's what it is. And I think persons need to start looking at makeup as a career. You can barely find a foundation for $2,000. No, you're not gonna use one whole foundation on someone, but your time and a collection of all the products. I have all prestige brands in my kit. No, for somebody to offer me $2,000 to spend half an hour, it's gonna cost me more than that just to spend half an hour. We have to get to the place where we stop looking at it as the look of makeup. The compensation rate, for example, a regular somebody, going to a business meeting and want to get their makeup done. Depending on the brands that you're using, that can be anywhere between $3,500 and $5,000, all right? If persons want lashes, it depends again on the lashes that you're using. You have lashes from, I think, like $100 at the wholesale, but you also have lashes that goes up to $2,000. So if I'm using a pair of $2,000 lashes on you, obviously you can't pay me $2,500 to do your makeup. You understand? Brides depend on if you're doing airbrush, if you're doing airbrush makeup or if you're doing regular makeup. That can start anywhere from $6,000 up to about $8,500 for the bride alone. If it's for movies, then obviously it's not going to be a per person situation. So that's something that you'll definitely have to create a package. That's going to depend on how many days are you shooting, what is the duration of the shoot itself. For something like a regular photo shoot, 6-8 hours, sometimes it might run over. You will have something that runs you about $35,000 and up. And again, depending on the length of the shoots, how many models, how many touch-ups and so forth. So most of the time you might have to custom build a package for a client. Quite a number of artists, but some of the ones that Jamaica on a whole might know. Sashana Cole, she's the owner of All Dolled Up Cosmetics. Makeup by Kellyanne Jones. And again, earlier we spoke about different career choice. Now these are makeup artists, but they don't necessarily go out to do makeup. They have makeup businesses, so they have makeup stores.
My name is Kellyanne Jones. I'm a professional makeup artist. I go by the name Kelly J. Prior to taking the class at DeMarie, I used to do makeup on my own. However, I felt the need to go and learn more because I felt that I wasn't grasping it properly. In terms of when I spoke with Dawn at the time, I said to her, Dawn, I really need to learn how to do this eyeshadow blending. I feel like that's my downfall. Not only I kind of build on my confidence, but I think that the class has helped me to gain popularity. When you go to companies to get work, they normally ask you who you're accredited to or who you get certified with. I know I can honestly say, hey, I got my certification at DeMarie and it's internationally certified with City and Guild and all of that.
Another one of our students is Jaden Campbell, and the lipstick I'm actually wearing is from her line of lipstick and it's called Caribbean, as you can see. So this is the blue that I'm wearing today, and this is called Glamorous, of course. Jaden is 19 years old, with her own business. Some of the other past students who are now teachers, Monique Witter, her Instagram name is I Am Mo Wit. We have Kimon Kane, Jamaica knows her as Kim Kelly. We have Jody McIntyre, Jay Cespedes, she's also a teacher but makeup artist. Jody actually teaches face and body painting. Tiffany Bird, Tiffany's doing amazing. She really specializes in special effects.
A friend of mine introduced me to DeMarie. Her name is Shauna, and she started teaching me special effects, and from someone she helped me through.
Paints like a picture, sings like a melody. Law of attraction feels like chemistry.
I do find it satisfying because I really love what I do, and the reaction on the person's face after finishing my project, they can't believe what I've done, especially if it's the first time seeing it done. It's really satisfying.
I think persons you really need to have a passion for makeup in order to want to do makeup. And funny enough, you realize that most of the students that come to us, most of the time you're not even teaching them anything new. You help pull out what is already within them, all right? So for me, have a passion. And once you have the passion, you will find the personality. You have to be pleasant and you have to be patient. For example, if you're dealing with a whole production, you're dealing with models, you're dealing with cast members, you're dealing with photographers, videographers, you're dealing with a lot of persons, and when you're on set, it's not always peaches and cream. Things go wrong, and you can't have the makeup artist having outburst or a nasty attitude, because then nobody will want to refer you. And in this business, trust me, we need the referral. So I would definitely say have a strong passion, be patient, and just really have a pleasant personality. And that's a wrap.
Now presenting the Jamaica Social Investment Fund ICDP Enterprise Development Project. Entrepreneurial Grant Business Pitch.
This project is a $100 million grant that's seeking to target 50 small and micro business enterprises and give them training, capacity development, equipment, permits and license towards the development and the viability of their business. We have made a call for proposal in March of this year for entrepreneurs to submit for the opportunity to receive a grant between $1 and $5 million. We received more than 500 applications, and so we have now shortlisted them to 100. So we've invited that top 100 applicants here today, and they're going to have to pitch their business idea to a panel, and of the 150 will actually transpire and win the opportunity for the grants. One of the primary objectives of what we're doing here is employment. We want the business to be able to sustain not only the principals as the owners, but we also want the business to be able to employ at least 2 people. The next part of it, as we do in all of our projects like this, is it provides a learning instrument of how we can engage small and micro enterprises and take them to the next level.
Why we're doing this rigorous process, because we want to identify the best potential entrepreneurs for this project. And keep in mind that we are speaking about a loan, so we want to ensure that the applicants are committed, and that from a sustainability point of view, that upon receiving the support from JSIP, that in 2 or 3 years the enterprises will still be operational and the broader objective of the project would be achieved. And once we have now equipped them and they should be ready to start their production and going, we'll then have a mentorship component.
It has been a very competitive process. Jamaica is filled with persons with drive and passion. We're expecting that the best will be selected, and then for those who are not successful, we are also hoping to link them to other providers of services, because I'm telling you today, from what I've seen, it is an excellent opportunity. It's worthy of note that many persons coming here today already have some kind of semblance of a business, but they need the additional support to move that business to the other level, as well as some persons that come in with just proposals to start from scratch. On behalf of the JSIF, we want to really thank the DBJ and other partners from UWI who came to be part of the panel, and just to remind you that the JSIF is here and we're investing for community development.
I'm Butch Hendrickson. You're watching BATV, serious about business.
A 34-year-old woman goes to her doctor for evaluation and treatment for infertility. She has been worried and recently began very painful and prolonged menstruation. During her physical examination, her doctor feels a large mass on her uterus, and ultrasound shows it's about 40 centimeters in diameter. He believes it's a fibroid tumor and discusses several treatment options. She chooses and will begin treating the fibroid, then will have it removed. She gets assurance that after treatment, she will have no more painful cycles and excessive bleeding, and that she will be able to conceive. This story is quite familiar to many women of reproductive age. Uterine fibroids in women of color is what we will look at on this episode of The Good Life.
Hello, Dr. Hardy.
How are you?
Dr. Hardy, I've heard all about your work on fibroids in women, and you'd be the perfect person to talk to on this week of The Good Life. First of all, how did you get started? Why fibroids in women?
Well, fibroids are 3 to 9 times more common in black women than in whites. And with our population being more than 90% from African descent, it stands to reason that we would have many women with fibroids, and many of these women would have symptomatic fibroids. So there is indeed a great need for treatment modalities to be developed for the treatment of these women.
Talk to us about fibroids. What exactly are fibroids?
To understand the whole thing about fibroids, we first have to talk about where fibroids are found.
Right.
Fibroids are found in the womb. The womb is a muscular organ in the pelvis, behind the bladder, and in front of the rectum. Essentially, it is the organ which bleeds every month for the menstrual cycle in women in the reproductive age group. Its main function, and probably only function, is to bear children. Fibroids now occupy this womb. Again, the womb is a pear-shaped organ, and you could have fibroids in any part of this organ. If you were to cut the pear, say, in half, you could have fibroids on the inner side. That's where the seed of the pear might be.
Right.
You could have fibroids in the fleshy part of the pear. That's the yellow part.
Yeah.
And you could have fibroids on the outside of this pear.
Okay.
You could also have fibroids attached to this pear by a stalk. And this could occur on the outside and on the inside as well, from where you might have the seed of this pear.
Okay.
These have names, of course. They are pedunculated fibroids, as we would call them. Sometimes fibroids, of course, might be attached to other organs in the abdomen, and these are called parasitic.
How do fibroids usually develop?
Well, I think the question you really want to ask is what causes fibroids. The truth is that we don't know.
Right.
What we do know is that there has to be some genetic component, because they're more common in black people. And they only grow during the reproductive years, which means that your female hormones has something to do with them and their development. There has been lots of arguments about nutrition, but fibroids are common in black women in all the geographical regions of the world. where the diets are different. So I'm not convinced at all that diet has anything to do with it.
So we don't know the exact causes of fibroids, but how would I know whether or not, I may have fibroids?
Most patients with fibroids, interestingly, have no symptoms. And many times they are discovered on routine examination by the doctor, which every lady should have, especially if you're sexually active, in terms of having your annual gynecological check, your pap smear, and your pelvic examination. And lots of times, that's when fibroids are discovered. Sometimes, though, the patients may have symptoms. These symptoms may be related to bleeding issues. The periods might start to become heavier, more painful. They may last for a longer time. You may just have pelvic pains. You may have what we call bulk symptoms, where you start noticing that you have to pass your urine more frequently, because the expanding uterus with the fibroids are competing with the bladder which is in front of it for the same space. Some people may have difficulties with passing their stools because the fibroids might be abutting against the rectum, hence the bulk symptoms. Some people may have issues in terms of fertility. One may cause you to miscarry, or they may cause you to not become pregnant. Although having said that, you still can become pregnant, or some people do become pregnant with their fibroids anyway, some people. Another symptom which we don't hear a lot about is discharge. In terms of fibroids, you can have a heavy discharge as a consequence of the fibroids. And this comes about because the womb makes a certain amount of secretions, and the amount increases with the size of the cavity of the womb. And with this expanding womb, you have a bigger cavity. More secretions, more nutrients for the bacteria which normally lives in the vagina, hence you have a secondary problem with vaginal discharge.
So the main point is that if something may happen and you happen to get a checkup, and you may have fibroids.
Yes.
There's no real way to really know, I have fibroids.
Well, you may have no symptoms, or you may have symptoms, which would drive you to the doctor. And on examination, these may be suspected. Of course, ultrasound examination usually will confirm these findings, although most of us will, with a great degree of accuracy, be able to diagnose your fibroids just on physical examination.
On that note, we take our first break on The Good Life. But stay tuned, our Need to Know segment is coming up.
They say it takes a village to raise a child, but the world will one day need the leadership of that child. The time you spend with your child matters. It stimulates their minds and shapes the way they act. Talk with your children. Help them to better understand the world around them and to value what is truly precious. Above all, the most valuable gift you can give them is love. Play, talk, teach, love. Take the time. It makes all the difference. A message from the Parenting Helpline and Ad Council Jamaica.
It's season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access. Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Welcome to our Need to Know feature. This week's show is an examination of fibroids in women of color. Here are a few facts. Among the symptoms that may indicate that a woman has fibroids is anemia, which is a reduction in your blood cells. A lot of persons mistake uterine fibroids for ovarian cysts. Although they present some similar symptoms, Unlike fibroids, cysts can contain fluid that can burst and release its contents into the body, that can cause blood poisoning and other illnesses. Also, cysts do not cause menstrual bleeding, but fibroids do.
How dangerous are fibroids? Are they dangerous?
Well, there are potential problems from fibroids. As I say, you may have no symptoms. If you're having problems with bleeding, you could become anemic. And anemia eventually could lead to problems as severe as heart failure.
Okay.
All right? You may have pelvic pains, chronic pelvic pains, which could affect your personality. It could affect your relationships, because now pelvic pains become a problem.
Okay.
All right? So you may have
That's
or
pelvic
lose
pain in
interest.
general, or that's pelvic pain in regards to sex?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Both.
Both?
Both.
Okay.
So it can lead to marital disharmony.
Okay.
It could affect you at work, because if you're always having pains or always bleeding, it will affect your work performance. It may lead to absenteeism. And even if your employers might be sympathetic with you initially, they will get tired of you if there's no intervention to deal with these problems.
Do fibroids affect other organs? I know you mentioned it can push up against the bladder or the rectum, but can it affect organs in an adverse way?
Well, you could get compression of the ureters. These are the tubes leading from the kidneys, leading the urine down to the bladder.
Compression in the sense of something pushing against them?
Obstructing the ureter.
Oh, okay.
And this could cause back pressure onto the kidneys, which could have implications if it's going on for years.
Right. Okay.
Fibroids sometimes may begin to invade or take blood from other neighboring organs, and these are called parasitic fibroids.
Okay.
Fibroids, of course, taking blood supply from the intestines, could lead to all sorts of bowel symptoms. So yes, it could affect other organs. Thankfully, this doesn't happen very often.
Okay.
But it's possible.
How can I, as a woman in my reproductive years, lessen the chance or the likelihood of, getting fibroids?
Unfortunately, you can't. It is very common. In fact, in some studies, they refer to 70 to 80% of all women having fibroids in some shape or form.
Right.
However, most fibroids have no symptoms. So not all persons will be affected by their fibroids. Fibroids may vary in size from size of a grain of sand to that of a full-term pregnancy. And between the size and their location, it will determine whether or not you're going to have problems from them or not.
They can or cannot be dangerous then? It depends on the size of...
Not necessarily size. In fact, location probably is a bigger factor, just like real estate, in terms of the problems you may have with fibroids.
What's the age bracket for people who may have fibroids?
As I mentioned earlier, fibroids grow during the reproductive years. That is, the years that you're having your period.
Okay.
Not very common in the 20s, although every now and then we do find patients in the 20s.
So
but it's more common. It's more common in the 30s and 40s.
Okay. So I'm 25. Should I be conscious of, maybe I might have fibroids? Or do I wait until I'm 30 something and say, oh, doctor, I want to check if something is happening?
Well, you should be conscious that these things are possible. Certainly, if there are any symptoms suggestive of fibroids, you certainly should check them out.
Right.
But the point I would like to make is that once you are in the reproductive age group, and especially if you're sexually active, you should be having your annual check.
Right.
So if you have fibroids, even if they're not symptomatic, they should have been picked up.
Right. Right.
You're watching The Good Life with Dr. Milton Hardy. Please stay tuned for more information about uterine fibroids.
Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters. Call us at 876-618-2870 or email us at sales@batvja.com. Business Access TV, serious about business.
My name is Dennis O'Brien, Chairman of Digicel. You're watching Business Access TV, serious about business.
Welcome back to The Good Life. This week we are exploring fibroids in women of color with Dr. Milton Hardy. We already discussed fibroids and their symptoms. We'll wrap things up with the various treatment options. But before that, let's find out the answer for this frequently asked question.
So doctor, based on your diagram, a fibroid is a growth, right? An
Yes,
abnormal growth. It's not normal.
Indeed.
And when you think of growths, you think of cancer. Is fibroids cancerous?
Well, growths may be benign, non-cancerous, or they may be cancerous or malignant.
Right.
Fibroids can undergo malignant change, that is, they can become cancerous. However, this happens so infrequently that the answer to your question is no.
Okay.
But it does happen, but it's extremely rare.
How are fibroids usually treated?
Well, sometimes you just watch. There's nothing to do depending on the symptoms the fibroids might be causing or their size. You may need to do intervention, and the nature of the intervention will be governed by the age and the reproductive desires of the patient. Certainly in our population, lots of women in their 30s have not yet had their children. So any treatments that you're offering would be in the direction of womb preservation. Hence, these patients, if they're symptomatic, and symptoms would include fertility issues, they could be offered the operation of myomectomy. Myomectomy being the operation where you remove the fibroids and repairing the uterus so the patient may have an opportunity to bear children in the future. A lady who has completed her family with symptomatic fibroids, you might offer her a hysterectomy if she so desires. Hysterectomy, one of the treatments for patients with symptomatic fibroids, is the removal of the entire uterus. These patients will no longer be able to see periods or have the ability to bear children. These may be accompanied by removal of the ovaries, which would also put the patient immediately into the menopause. Some people may watch a patient who is in her late 40s. Symptoms might not be so severe, so you try to see if what will come first, the menopause or a worsening of her symptoms, because sometimes you can't wait on the menopause if the symptoms are that severe. So essentially the interventions are mainly surgical. There are medical interventions. There are radiological interventions, because you can have what we call embolization of the artery, the uterine artery, where you tend to try to shut down the blood flow going to the uterus. This, of course, does have its...
To the entire uterus? Oh, wow.
Yeah. Has its implications in that it can only be offered, or should only be offered, to somebody who could have a hysterectomy if necessary.
Are there any dangers in regards to the surgical treatments for fibroids?
Yes. All surgical interventions, whether they're for fibroids or anything else, have their dangers. What is specific to fibroids is the control of bleeding at the operation of myomectomy. Now, remember, in doing a myomectomy, you're cutting into a live organ.
A myomectomy, before we continue, is?
The removal of fibroids.
The removal of fibroids.
While preserving the uterus, so that the lady may have the opportunity to have children in the future.
Right, okay.
So you're cutting into a live organ.
Mm-hmm.
And bleeding has always been a major problem with this procedure. Some years ago, a team of local gynecologists, led by Professor Joseph Frederick, I'm a member of that team as well, we developed a technique using a drug called vasopressin, which constricts the blood supply, the blood vessels to the uterus, and allows us to cut into that uterus with very little bleeding. The effects of the drug last for about 45 minutes. And this gives you a good head start to get going with your operation. The easier the operation is, the greater the chances that you'll be successful. So this technique, of course, is being used worldwide. It minimizes or reduces the risk or the chances for you needing to transfuse these patients. Because one of the problems with the myomectomy operation was the risk of having to transfuse the patients, because it's a bloody operation.
Right.
So we have made significant strides, and thankfully, I'm happy to say that we have contributed from Jamaica into the development of the treatments of fibroids, certainly in the area of doing the operation of the myomectomy, which is very important because many ladies in the reproductive age group would have been forced to have had a hysterectomy rather than having a chance to have their womb preserved and go on to fulfill their reproductive ambitions.
So let's say I had my fibroids removed.
Yes.
Will they grow back?
They can.
They can?
Yes. Remember, fibroids grow during the reproductive years. A patient who makes fibroids has the potential to keep making fibroids. And if you have had fibroids which are symptomatic, which have triggered intervention in the past, if you're young enough, they shall return, or they might. There are some patients who may not get any regrowth of their fibroids, but some do. And some do get a regrowth of symptomatic fibroids where there needs to be further intervention, that is more surgery.
Do fibroids run in families? As in, if my mother had fibroids, does it mean that I may have?
The cause of fibroids are unknown. Fibroids are more common in the black population.
Right.
Then it stands to reason that if your mother had fibroids, your chances of having fibroids, symptomatic fibroids, are greater than someone who didn't. But certainly fibroids are detected and they are asymptomatic, then certainly you should be monitored. If they are symptomatic, then you need to have the relevant intervention which might be appropriate for your situation.
Thank you, Dr. Hardy, for your time. I've learned a lot about uterine fibroids, and I know a lot of women are going to be getting their annual checkups a lot more frequently, because I think sometimes we tend to leave that on the back burner. But thank you for your time today, and definitely you guys get your checkups, get your pap smear, and is it one checkup?
Pelvic examination.
So the pelvic exam and the pap smear is at the same thing?
It's not at the same time.
It's not at the same time? Okay. So get your pelvic examinations and get your pap smears done. I've been your host of The Good Life, Amita Prasad Webb. Until next time, join us again.
The Jamaica Stock Exchange wishes to help to develop the social sector.
To that end, they have formed the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange, which is a safe, efficient, and transparent platform that aims to promote social projects that build Jamaica and will inure to the benefit of all persons living in the country.
The Jamaica Stock Exchange is a company that encourages and mobilizes capital for the main market, and that is the market that is not the social sector. Now, the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange is really geared towards the social sector to help to solve social problems in the field of health, education, about children, environment. Those are some of the things that we consider social problems. And so it is to mobilize the capital, allow persons who have a desire to invest in a social good, to invest in the social stock exchange. It is designed in two parts. In phase 1, where we look at social investment, and phase 2, where we look at social impact investment. Now, in phase 1, really what we are saying is it is donation. An organization will have a social issue and design it into a project or a program and invite Jamaicans or persons within the diaspora or the entire world to fund this program. Now, in phase 2, you're going to get a return on investment, which is not social. You will be getting shares, natural shares, as you would get if you invested in the Jamaica Stock Exchange. And what you'll get is a return on capital, which is possibly dividend or an appreciation in that share. The Jamaica Social Stock Exchange does more than ask for the funding of these programs, but goes beyond that in terms of monitoring, ensuring that these programs are meeting the targets and the reason for them to have asked for funding in the first place. When we look at this new sector, it is important because holistically, if you do not look on the social sector, you do not improve the other sectors. We want to encourage all businesses in Jamaica to have a corporate social responsibility because it is good for encouraging and the growth and development of businesses.
The Caribbean is a rich biodiversity hotspot. It has over 11,000 plant species, and about 72 of these are found only in this region. This richness also extends to the Caribbean people. Their traditional knowledge of the region's varied natural resources has integrated nature into the economic and health sectors worldwide. It has also drawn many to research and use the region's biodiversity for medicinal, cosmetic, and pharmaceutical purposes. For example, the glaucoma medication Canasol is made from cannabis. However, Caribbean islands have fallen prey to biopiracy, where a country's resources are accessed and developed commercially, but the country gets little or no benefit from it. As the world benefits from the Caribbean's biodiversity, countries need to be compensated for their commercial use. Lawmakers need to ensure that their countries are legally prepared to give access to and benefits from commercial use of genetic resources. To ensure prior informed consent and mutually agreed terms of access established by the Nagoya Protocol, The Global Environment Facility, GEF, United Nations Environment Program, UNEP, and the International Union for the Conservation of Nature, IUCN, are jointly providing support to countries at different levels in order to advance towards functional access and benefit sharing. Under the Nagoya Protocol, countries from which natural resources are obtained for commercial developments are entitled to compensation. It also ensures indigenous knowledge from groups such as the Maroons, Rastafarians, and Amerindians can be credited and compensated if their traditional knowledge has been used for commercial purposes. Caribbean islands are putting the Nagoya Protocol in their legislative framework to safeguard their country's biodiversity and traditional knowledge.